It's Black Cat season. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Here at Lindy Stitches, we talk about cross stitch. I design cross stitch patterns and I own a needlework store. You can see all my goodies at lindystitches.com. Today I'm nervous, although I hope I'm such a smooth operator that you won't be able to tell. I'm here to share with you my fall releases, and I love fall so much and I so desperately want to do it justice that I think that's why I'm nervous. I'm going to show you my 3 new fall patterns ready for you to enjoy your own fall crafting and decorating, and then I'm going to show you the other good stuff I've been working on. So just a casual Flosstube stitchy chat. I hope that you are currently cozy, and tell me what you're stitching on in the comments below. I would love to know. So first up, my first release is another installment in my Airmail series. My Airmail series features a colorful bird. It's a bird stamp. It's like a postage stamp, and I've chosen very colorful saturated birds for this series, so it's just a fun color play. They're easy and quick to stitch. And for September's bird, this is September's Airmail installment, I chose the rainbow bearded thornbill. Now, isn't he a cutie? The Airmail series also has to further enhance the color play, I've included the kind of classic sampler feature of a bird, in that they all have this little geode pattern somewhere on them. So here is the model of the rainbow bearded thornbill. Isn't he a cutie? I love him. I came across a picture of a thornbill on Instagram and saw the colors and immediately thought, that is a fall composition right there. So here he is. Now if you're wondering where's the rainbow, this is a juvenile thornbird and his beard is just stark orange. If you gave him another year, he would develop these little rainbow scales right under his beard. But that's why he's called a rainbow bearded thornbill. They're very cool birds. They live high in the Andes. Did I say this? A thornbill is actually a short-billed hummingbird. So he's a hummingbird. And he's really cute. And if you wanted to rainbow up his beard underneath his chin, look up a picture of a mature thornbill, you definitely could. But I just loved his fall colors, and he just looks so sweet. I love his little feet. So the model was stitched by Allison Corbin. Thank you so much, Allison, for your beautiful stitching. And I finished it using my classic Airmail finishing supplies from Lady.Creates. We have some potato velveteen, country rust, rickrack, and sequoia mini poms. I have a tutorial on exactly how I finish these. Once you're done with that last stitch, you can go ahead and watch it. And quite a few people have been using that tutorial. I see your finishes on Instagram, and I think they're beautiful. And it's so exciting to see people finishing their cross stitch. So here's my colorful stack. I gotta show you my color explosion of this series. Here it is. So much fun. And I just think he is gonna look great on my fall shelf of autumnal colors. Man, I love the colors of autumn. Can you tell? These are my dress overalls. I got them for my birthday. The next release I have to share with you is also a bird. It is installment 10 of the Bird Crush Club, and installment 10 went to a classically fall bird, an owl. May I present the long-eared owl as photographed by Chris Gilbert. Oh my goodness. Isn't he absolutely divine? I love him so much. He is one of my favorites from the series. Here's my model based on the photograph that Chris took. And here it is in person. The long-eared owl. I love how he looks in this golden frame. I love his sweet, innocent expression. He was so much fun to stitch. I stitched him up on 32 count Water Spirit linen by Seraphim Fabrics, and he's so much fun. So sweet, and absolutely will look great on my fall shelf. However, did you know that the feathers on their head, you know, I don't know who gets put in charge of bird naming, but sometimes they just do a terrible job. They are not ears. They're just ornamental feathers on top of his head. His ears are buried in the feathers on the sides of his head. So they're not technically ears. Chris in his postcard says, their ears are not actually ears, but are display feathers. The hearing of owls is very keen and is a great part of what makes them fantastic predators. So if you order the pattern, you do get a free postcard that was part of our Bird Crush Club, and Chris wrote up a lovely description of each species. And at the beginning of the year, that was like an extra add-on, but we just decided we have so many postcards, we might as well just give them away for free. So while supplies last, they're just included with every pattern. So that's the long-eared owl. And without further ado, I have to put on my attire. Here we go. It's Black Cat season. It's Black Cat season, people. I wanted to create a whole series just based on our love of black cats. The little voids in our lives, the house panther, the neighborhood spook and haunt, the bringer of good luck, and maybe bad, although I just cast that notion aside. These beloved little creatures that some of us live with, and some of us just enjoy on our porches, like me, the black cat. So, without further ado, may I present Black Cat season. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a close-up in just a minute, okay? Just be patient. This is Black Cat season. And I'm terribly excited. I'm terribly excited about this pattern. I love it. So Black Cat season comes in 6 parts. There are 6 unique little designs put together. So being 6 and an even number, you can stitch this however you want. Of course, I mean, I don't need to tell you, these are speeches we hear all the time, right? You can stitch one, you can stitch them all, you can stitch them in a long line like I did. I really want to see someone stitch it 3 by 3 and, you know, frame it up, and that would look just absolutely perfect. But I decided to stitch mine in a long banner, also known as a bell pull for cross-stitchers of old. But this is Black Cat season, so let's break it down. I decided to release the patterns as singles, so you can get them all in one set on my website, or you can just get the ones that you personally like. But we'll go through them one by one. Part 1 is Midnight Walker Shadow Stalker. And I just made that up myself. But it's this little cat, black cat, sneaking along at midnight, doing his sneaky street cat stuff. That one is called Midnight Walker. Part 2 is a favorite. This part is called Black Cat Singing. It says Black Cat Singing in the Dead of Night. Of course, a Beatles spoof. I love this part. My favorite part of this is that the moon kind of has a shocked expression on its face. And some of the musical notes are like crooked because, you know, cats aren't great singers. But he's just sitting on his fence singing his song in the dead of night. So let's roll this up. Part 3 says, "May the blackest cat you've ever seen make you smile on Halloween." And that's just a little Halloween blessing. I think all of these would be so cute stitched up as smalls, similar to my Airmail series. It would be so fun to do some color play with some trim, some rickrack and some palms or some chenille, and just give these as smalls to anyone you know who loves or owns a black cat. Part 4, this part was inspired by my Facebook group. I put a call out for just, letting them know I was creating this series, and little did I know they would deluge me with beautiful pictures of black cats and the silly things that they call their black cats. Me, not being part of the black cat community, did not know some of these terms, but house panther is another name for a domestic black cat. So this is Beware House Panther. And the little shutters on that window say fierce and deadly. But my favorite part is just that the cat looks kind of derpy. His whiskers are kind of crossed on the other side. That is intentional. You can straighten them out if you want, but obviously not as fierce and deadly as the sign proclaims. So that part is called House Panther. And then we continue. I could have even made this longer, but I had to cut myself off. This one says, "See a black cat, pick it up. All the day you'll have good luck." And we'll see if my camera will focus, but this black cat here on the side, he's not a fan of this piece of advice. The cat's sleeping up here, and then he's been picked up, and this is the look on his face. All the day you'll have good luck. I cannot legally give you this piece of advice or accept the consequences thereof, and so proceed at your own risk. That part is called good luck. I am not responsible for the consequences of anyone putting this to the test. And then the last part is just kind of classic looking, and it just says Black Cat Season. There it is. Those are all 6 parts of Black Cat Season. You can buy them as a set on my website, and I am going to have a deal where you buy 5, you get 1 free on the PDFs or the little postcard patterns. Hey, I forgot to mention, there are also 5 little borders that you can get for free on my website, and you place these in between the 6 pattern parts. Don't worry, I've done all the math. It's on my website, and you can find the free borders and all the info that you need on the series there. So the Black Cat Season is accompanied by a special accessory. This is a wooden bell pull hanger where you can hang the whole banner, or you could just stitch one. Like, that would look adorable too, hanging as a decoration around the fall time. But these were made by Matt Twist. Does that name sound familiar? Matt Twist is married to a famous cross-stitcher named Beth Twist. But Matt has his own business called The Boardroom, where he is putting wild hairs into actuality. He lets people like me come to him with random ideas, and then he lets them email him 15 times with changes to get just the right thing. Thank you, Matt. These are absolutely beautiful. They're made out of trees that were reclaimed after storms. They're like a zero waste product, which is so cool. And of course, they're handmade by him. He hand painted these cats. I can't get over it. So because Matt is not a machine and he doesn't want to sit around hand painting black cats for the rest of his life, this is a limited edition product. You can only find it on my website, but isn't it adorable? It's absolutely cute. So it just hangs from this big star here. You just hang it over a hook or a little nail or a pin in the wall, and you can display your black cat season. So thank you so much, Matt, for making these. They're gorgeous. I forgot to say about the hanger that we have it perfectly sized where you can stitch black cat season on any count, 14 count Aida or higher, or 28 count even weave or linen or higher. So you can stitch it on 14, 16, 18, 20 Aida. You can stitch it on 28, 32, 36, 40 linen, or even smaller if you wanted to, and it will fit within the dimensions of the hanger. Let's talk about fabric. The purple that I decided was perfect for black cat season is Blackberry Latte by Grace Notes Fabrics. And I really want to thank Corinne for working with me. She did everything I needed, which was we need a skinny quarter to stitch this in a banner. So not a fat quarter. If you don't want to stitch it continually, you can definitely use a fat quarter, but if you want to stitch it in a continuous banner, you need a skinny quarter. So instead of cutting that yard into fourths the way we normally do, you cut it into skinny columns. And Corinne graciously not only dyed the fabric for me, but she cut it up and serged it into skinny quarters, which I really appreciate. So now that is ready for you too. I have 32 linen, 32 Lugana, and 16 count Aida in this color from Corinne, beautifully dyed and serged, and I'm really thankful for her too. While we're thanking people, thank you to Pam Ray, who beautifully and speedily stitched this model. She stitched this so quickly, and I was just so thankful. And yeah, it's just so much fun. We used Weeks Dye Works for the flosses and some really fun colors. I mean, this ultraviolet is a joy to stitch with, as well as the autumn leaves with its yellow and oranges. Really fun. And of course the whole series uses the same colors throughout so that it's easy to cut up. I think that's everything about black cat season. I'm a little sad because I just want to keep talking about this, but I hope that those of you who love a black cat feel that I have done its wonders and its glories justice and all of its wonderful eccentricities. Yeah. So dedicated to all you stitchy companions out there. I would love nothing more than more black cat photos thrown at me as you go off and stitch a little tribute to your favorite little void. I'm just gonna keep the ears on. So in the last 2 weeks since I spoke to you last, I've been stitching like a fiend. I don't know why. I think I felt inspired by life. I just wanted to stitch, and so stitch I did, and I took a couple of milestone opportunities to do some new starts, so we'll start with those. I have 2 new starts to show you. The first, I told you I was going to start it, and I did. I started Coffee and Eggs by the Artsy Housewife. This has been our best-selling pattern by far in the last month. We have reordered it 3 or 4 times, And Gigi's husband assures me that we are their #1 customer. So I guess you really like this pattern too, because I can't keep it in stock. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm stitching it using the called for colors, which are a beautiful mix of overdyes, and I have a couple DMC. But I'm stitching mine on 32 count raw. This is just a standard Zweigart color, and I think it looks great. The called for is Fox and Rabbit baked clay, but I don't think it's too far off the raw. So there's my chicken. I still need to do his tail feathers. It has to be a her, right? It's coffee and eggs, and that's a female chicken's work. So don't know why it felt like I needed to say that. I still need to do her tail feathers, but she's beautiful. I have to say, this main chicken color is Hazelnut by Weeks Dye Works. I love the browns in Weeks Dye Works that are named after nuts. It's so beautiful. And I also love pecan, which is why I said the ones that are named after nuts. Pecan and hazelnut by Weeks Dye Works are just great, great browns. So yes, excited about this new start. It's floating my boat. Next up, it also was our wedding anniversary, 21 years, still going strong. And I used it as an excuse to start something new, as you do. I started Plum Street Samplers Blackbird Fractor. This is an older pattern. It is from 2017. But I love, love, love the look of it. I have this at Lindy Stitches. And I don't know. I mean, this wasn't even on that big slew of things I told you I was thinking about starting. I am so like my dad. My dad, when we would go out to eat, everyone would be talking about what they were going to order. And you would ask him, "Hey Dad, what are you gonna get?" He'd say, I'm gonna get a hamburger, or I'm gonna get the steak." Like, okay. The waitress would come and Dad would order the fish. And we'd all just look at him. And I do the same thing. I drive my husband crazy. I also have to know what every single person at the table is ordering so that I can put that into my data set decision-making process for what I should order. And I have to wait till that last final pressure of like, it's now or never, and then I randomly decide what I'm going to get. This is Blackbird Fractor. And isn't it beautiful? It's so pretty. So when I pulled the colors, I was like, oh, this is kind of a rainbow. You've got red, pink, orange, yellow, green. It's a muted rainbow. And these are not my colors. I would just say that I don't tend to go toward the dustier colors. This is like not my jam. But when you stitch them into the fabric, it just looks so elegant. It looks so elegant. I love it. I am stitching this on 32 count Chai Latte by Seraphim Fabrics. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful color. And it's been a little bit since I stitched on some Seraphim on a personal project, and I forgot how much I love it. It's just so smooth. It's nice in the hand if you're an in-hand stitcher. Other projects I worked on, I of course am working away at my sampler for Nashville 2024, making a little bit of progress, and I've been showing you the back of it like a weirdo. Here's the back of it. So I finished up this big solid chunk of green that is Meadow by Weeks Dye Works. I love Meadow by Weeks Dye Works. It's so perfect, and I'm working on filling in my creatures down below. There will be a big bed of creatures, and this time I've been showing you a little creature every time I show it, and here you go. There's my chameleon. Isn't he lovely? Stitching this on 32 count, Spending Amnesia by Mystic Fabrics. Prior to my fun starts, I forced myself to do some stitching on projects that I'm not enjoying. I would love to come up with a FLOSSTUBE term for these types of projects. The type of project where you don't enjoy stitching on it, but you're committed to finishing it because you want the finish. What could we call these projects? We could call them medicine projects. Like medicine, it's not... How about cough syrup projects? Who likes cough syrup? No one likes cough syrup, no one enjoys it, but you take it because you want the result. Stitch in for a finish. We could call them exercise projects, because no one likes exercising, but you just want that hot bod. Okay, I don't know what to call them. If you have a great suggestion, you put it down below. But I have two projects that fit into this category. The first one is Pride and Prejudice by Gera. The reason this is a cough syrup project is because every 4 seconds you have to change colors, and I just really don't enjoy that. It also has no less than like 823 colors, and that also annoys me. But I want it on my wall. It's absolutely gorgeous, so I just keep taking the cough syrup. I just keep putting strands into this. So I decided if I added the girl, maybe I would stoke some enthusiasm for what was going on. That didn't work, but she looks cute. And I also added this tree down here. So this puts me at 50% completed. I will next have to work on the lion, as well as that flowery dress, and more stupid flowers. Each of these flowers, the stem is one color, the leaves are another color, the middle of the flower is another color, and the petals are probably 2 colors. So you can probably see why this is a cough syrup project. My other cough syrup project is a Prairie schooler, and I feel terrible. I feel terrible that that's the case, but I have to be honest. I don't know what my problem is, but we're going to complete it, and we're all going to admire it, and we're going to say nothing but that this is a classic, and that Pamela Bird Smith is an absolute genius. Because that's the truth. I'm stitching this on 32 count Tidal, and folks, we are making progress. We have hanging threads. We only have 1 block left. 1 block left. The only problem that I now have is I've cut work out for myself. You can see this is stitched on white fabric. There is no white actually charted in the pattern. Things like Santa's beard and this snow are just fabric coming through. So because I changed the fabric to green, I then have to do white stitches, which means this last block is going to be full coverage because I have to cover that background with white. But then we will be done. We will frame it, and we will be happy we took the cough syrup. I have one piece of haul. I bought this for myself for my birthday. This is a pattern that was charted by Pat Rogers. Pat Rogers did a whole collection of Charlie Harper patterns, and I've had this in the back of my mind for quite some time. I bought Birdwatcher. And isn't that wonderful? It's wonderful. I think it will be a really relaxing stitch. You can see that the cat isn't full coverage, you're just doing those stripes in black, and for some reason I really like just monochromatically stitching in black. And I think this will be fun. There's like some beads scattered throughout the outside of the piece. I just think this is going to be a blast to stitch. So thank you, Steph, for buying that for my birthday. I'm really enjoying all of my projects right now, but there's always room for more. I don't know if you've heard, but there's going to be a stitch along hosted by the New Hampshire stitcher, Lauren, who I just started watching. I'm really enjoying her videos. She has a lot of beautiful projects, but she suggested that we go BAP to school. And if you don't know your cross-stitch acronyms, BAP stands for Big Awesome Project. So Lauren's idea was that we all start a big awesome project on September 1st, and that you would have plenty of time to kit up this big awesome project. I would like to participate. I've been dithering about what big awesome project on my patterns to stitch list I would like to start, and I have settled, people. It's been some time since I finished my last long dog sampler pattern, so I would like to start another. I am going to start Pandemic. Now, if you don't know what Pandemic is or looks like, you must have just started cross-stitching, because this pattern has been started, I don't know that it's been finished so many times, but it's been started by everyone and their brother. This was a pattern that Julia Line released in, I think, 2020, maybe 2021, when we all were holed up in our houses. She released it for free for a certain period of time, which was so incredibly generous of her, and everyone got busy stitching it. I want to start it. It's gorgeous. I love how when it is completed, it looks like this tapestry. For both of my other long dog samplers that I've completed, I was pretty much doing them monochromatically. They're gorgeous done monochromatically. For this one, I want to have a little bit more fun, so I have some fun plans. Now, for Julia's larger patterns, you need a fat half, and I don't tend to stash fat halves. But since I had extra time to prepare for this start, I have acquired a fat half. I'm going to stitch on 32 count smoky white linen. Now, this is a vintage linen by Zweigart, one of the linens that is printed on one side and the other side is solid colored. But I think you can see that. The modeling on it is a very light tan. It almost looks like a very light tea stain, but it doesn't have a lot of orange or yellow. It's just kind of an ecru modeling. It's a very pretty fabric. I think it's going to contrast really nicely with the colors I had picked out, which are these. I just basically made a rainbow of my favorite tones. I'm going to be using blues, oranges, corals, browns, and hopefully I won't have the problem that I sometimes have when I'm not designing, I'm just stitching something and I'm going off the rails of overthinking it. I tend to kind of torture myself with thinking about where I'm putting each color, but this is going to be really fun. I really love stitching on Zweigart's vintage line. I took some time in the last week to photograph Zweigart's vintage linens that we have in stock, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Zweigart also has some of their vintage colors only in Lugana. So yeah, I think you should check them out. I think first of all, standard fabrics are a lot easier to get than hand-dyed fabrics. There's, I mean, post-pandemic times, every fabric was crazy to try to get, but post-pandemic times, these are much more readily available than hand-dyed fabrics. The reason I love the vintage line is that it does look like a hand-dyed fabric, but the holes are nice and clear and crisp because it hasn't gone through extra processing. It was just printed. Because it hasn't gone through extra processing and washing, it's not fuzzy. It's just really lovely to stitch with. So if you haven't tried out Zweigart's vintage line, let me show you the different colors that these fabrics come in. So my photo project this week was to take some nice pictures between the different vintage fabrics so that you have those on as a resource. Those are on my website, but this is the one I was just talking about, vintage smoky white. The old classic, this is vintage country mocha. I think every cross-stitch designer in the world has probably charted on this. It's just a beautiful neutral. That's why I love these. They're all great neutrals to just have in your stash. There's not a one of these that I can't picture something that I would like to start on it. They're very versatile colors. So smoky white, this is vintage country mocha. I love this one. This one is Stormy Clouds. So this one has light gray modeling. It's got a hint of blue. It's not like a neutral gray, but it's subtle. The modeling is always subtle. This is Vintage Blue Whisper. It's a light blue. Very pretty. Could make a great sea or a great sky. This one is Vintage Stormy Night. You can see the difference between them. Vintage Stormy Night is darker, and it's also more of a gray blue. And then this one is new to me. I'd literally never seen this fabric before I ordered it for the shop. This one is Vintage Sahara. So that one is definitely a yellow, but not an annoying yellow. I personally think yellow can be annoying, but here's all the vintage linens. And then for whatever reason, I wish they would make these colors in linen as well, but there's some colors they just make in Lugana. This one is Vintage Atlantic. The Lugana colors are definitely more saturated. They do make the Vintage Stormy Clouds in the Lugana. And they, of course, make these fabrics in different counts, but it's not consistent. Like, just because they make this color in 32 linen doesn't mean you can find it in 36. You just kind of have to search around for what you want. But this one is the Vintage Atlantic Lugana. This is the Vintage Rose Lugana, and I actually like this one. I think pink fabric can be hard to chart on, but I have actually used this one. It's a nice pink. They also make Vintage Wood. I'm out of stock on that one, so I will put a picture on the screen. I just think as far as online shopping goes, you can't have enough resources where you can see pictures and comparisons and really have the tools you need to make a good decision with your cross-stitch purchases. The last sort of shop thing I have to tell you is very exciting. I am honored to say that Lindy Stitches is the official United States distributor of Amanique frames and stands. We were approached by the company to begin work with them, and we're very excited. We have been selling Lowry work stands for, I want to say 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, and that has been a great relationship for us. We've helped a lot of customers with their cross-stitch comfort, making your stitching experience more comfortable and exactly what you need for how you like to stitch. So this is just another edition of a different company that makes high quality scroll rods and stands to hold those scroll rods in your stitching chair so that you can just sit down and without back and neck and eye pain stitch your heart away. So Amanique is currently building our first big order. We have scroll rods of all sorts of lengths. We have their Monstreak stand coming and their Mantis table stand coming. I cannot wait to get my hands on them. We plan on eventually having just things in stock so that you can order them and get them right away. Right now it is a pretty long wait to just make a fresh order from Amanique and get them across the ocean to us. So yeah, we're learning a lot and I can't wait to try them out for myself so that I can make all sorts of resources like what I've just talked about, the fabric resources. I want to make lots of videos and sort of virtual hands-on experiences so that you can order with confidence from someone who's right here in the US. But I know a lot of you really do like Amanique products. A lot of my customers have given them 5-star reviews and they love using their scroll rods. They say that they are super drum tight and just what they love to stitch with. So that is forthcoming, but you can see all the products on my website now if you would like to check them out and make a pre-order. Okay, I'm going to tack on a little awkward addendum to this video. I'm upstairs doing some admin work and my mail carrier brought me some very exciting things. So if I haven't tempted you yet with a new fall start, allow me to show you some new releases that we now have in stock from Heart and Hand, Wee Santa 2023. The theme here is striped socks, so please observe. Beautiful striped socks and spindly legs on that Santa. Harvest Tiny Town. May I point out the chicken? Also, I just love those flying geese in the moon. Adorable. And then from my homie in Nevada, Janine McGowan of the Blue Flower, we have Forest Home. I showed you my new start of this in my last video. You can click back and see that. Autumn Bee. If this isn't tempting, I don't know what is. And the striped socks continue with these cats on Spooky Autumn Smalls. So fun. It's gonna be a great fall. I'm also shopping at Needlework Marketplace. I have not listed every single design that will be featured at Needlework Marketplace, but I've just kind of pared it down to maybe the designers that my customer base likes. But if you see something that you think I'm missing, let me know. We are excited to participate in our first virtual market as a shop, not as a designer. I just didn't have time to put together things so that they were ready just for marketplace. I had to kind of do it on my own time schedule this year, but we are excited to shop that and to make connections with other designers. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's all I had for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you like my new designs and that you're excited about cozy fall stitching just as much as I am. I will talk to you later, friend. Bye.